Hello, everybody. Okay, so before I play my theme song, I want to just say welcome back. And I want to tell everyone that I love you and thank you for the support. But this is not only for me, it is more for you, for all of us together. Also, I want to play a song that my sons and my nephew created for me. Tiaje Willis, known as the artist Tiaje Tajin, he created and produced my intro, and my nephews and my other sons, they did the background for him. So I wanted to give a special shout out to them, and I also want to shout out Kim Sewell, who created my flyer for marketing. And this is not only my show, this is Darlene Robinson's show, and we are very appreciative to you, Kim. Thank you.
Okay, welcome to the Sequoya show. Yeah, the Sequoya show. I said, welcome to the Sequoya show. Look, the Sequoya show. Okay, welcome to the Sequoya show. Yeah, the Sequoya show. She's the original individual, metaphysical, speaking to her spiritual. Thoughts are way too critical. She creating miracles. Promise she gon' get to you. Only affected by a few. Beginning to her chronicles. Maybe we'll get logical. Logically, she probably tell the truth through honesty. Welcome to the show. Y'all family.
Okay, I hope y'all heard it. Let me get into my chat room. All right. Give me 1 second here with me. Can y'all hear? This is my mic check. If you're not in the chat, please sign in, because we're going to have a special giveaway at the end of the season for the most active chatter. So sign in, and you can use your Facebook sign in, your Twitter, or your Ustream sign in, and it'll put you in just like that. If you sign in and you chat with us, you know, we'll be able to converse with you. You can ask questions to our guests, to the host, to the co-host, and we'll be able to answer them. I'll read them out loud, and we'll all be able to discuss and converse about what your question is. So, okay, today's show is very, very important to me, for you, because as you already know, every October through December, we air the Sequoia show. The reason why this show is so important is because within my time period of waiting to air the show again, I've gone through so many things. And so has our host and our special guest this evening, Darlene Robinson. The things that we've gone through, we learned and we were guided to understand that it begins with us. It begins with who is within, which leads me to give you some scenarios. All right, so we have a tea bag, and you drink the tea. In the tea bag are herbs. The tea bag is cased with a thin layer of a cloth or whatever it is that they use for the tea bag to hold the herbs inside of it. We may drink green tea, we may drink black tea, we may drink detox tea, but within that tea bag and within those herbs are the things that we really need. It's the real tea that's inside that tea bag. Okay, let's take our skulls for instance. Yes, right up here. The skull is not the important part. It's what's in the skull that's the important part. It's our brain. We use our brain for many things. We use it to think. It controls our nerves. It controls our actions. The same thing with our heart. Yeah, we draw nice, pretty shaped hearts, and it looks pretty on paper when we're doing art and stuff. But what's in the heart, it's what's important. The heart pumps blood through our veins so that we could be able to live. The heart contains the blood that we use. So what's in the heart is what's most important. That is the heart. What's in the skull is the brain. The brain is what's important. What's in the tea bag is what's important. And it's the same thing that goes for us. So our bodies. Now this may be deep for some people, but if you really want to make a change in your life, this is what's needed. What's in our bodies is what is important. That is the real us. It's our spiritual, emotional, and mental beings. Us. That is the real us. That is who our Creator made us to be. Not this body. Yes, we can dress it up and we want to appear a certain way, and that is cool. There is nothing wrong with that at all. But what's inside is the real you. We look in the mirror sometimes and we look at the outer being. We look at the outer shell and we think that's who we are. We look at our physical bodies and say, I want to change this about myself. I want to change that about myself. But that's not really who you are. You can change as much as you want on the outside, but who you are inside is what matters, because if you're stinking and rotten on the inside, guess what's going to seep out on the outside? That's right, that's stinking and rotten. It's just like garbage. You can put the garbage in a garbage can, and after a while, at the beginning you don't smell anything, but if it sits there and it keeps piling up and piling up, it starts seeping outside and it pushes people away. People don't want to be around it. It just stinks and it starts looking unattractive. That's the same thing. I don't care what kind of dumpster it's in. I don't care what kind of color the dumpster is or the garbage can. You can get the finest garbage cans you can find. The ones you can just push a remote and it can pop open. The ones you step on and it pops open. Either way, if that garbage begins to pile up, what's inside of that garbage can is going to begin to seep out and smell. And nobody's going to care about what the outside looks like. They're just going to move away. So you can spend top dollar on the finest garbage can, but at the end of the day, after a while, if it starts stinking and it starts becoming to look unattractive, nobody's going to want to be around it, and nobody's going to want to be in your house. Now, with that being said, this show's theme is called Unleashing the Power Within. The topic of this show is unleashing or getting to know the real and all-powerful you. This show right here is very important, just because just like with anything you do, you have to detox first. You have to clear out the old stuff. You have to get an understanding of what you're about to get into. I want you to understand that this is no joke. What you're about to get into is going to really change your life. It has for me. I promise you. I guarantee you. It's not going to always be easy. Because what begins to happen is that when you start to change the inside of you, you start to change a lot of the things that begins to happen on the outside of you, or that's already happening. So for a moment, I want you to take some time, real quick though, because we only have an hour, and I want you to think about your life on the outside. I want you to look around. Are you dissatisfied? Are you unhappy? Are you angry? Are you feeling lonely? Do you feel unloved? Why? Do you feel everyone around you hates you? Do you feel like there's always chaos? There's always drama? Well, guess what? Everything that you see around you is a mirror of who you are, who you really are on the inside. That's what's important, the inside. So you're mirroring, you're seeing what it is you're attracting based on who you truly are on the inside. And I had to come to that realization. It was a lot of things that I wasn't happy about. I was truly unhappy. And thank God for me, I have someone in my life who is my mom, who taught me about all of this stuff. She said, Sequoya, you got to get to know who the real you is. Our Creator, God, He wants us to know the real us. He wants you to know the real you. So if you're unhappy, if you're broke, if you're unsatisfied with your life, if you're not feeling well and you're just sick all of the time, guess what? It begins with you. Everything begins with the real you, the inner being, the spiritual being, the you inside. Once you change that, you'll start to see so many different things. And that's what this whole entire season is about. Oh, we're getting deeper this season. Yeah, we've brushed on some things on the first and second and third season, but this season, we're going to get some changes. We're going to get some outcomes happening, some positive outcomes, but you have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing. And please, let me explain. You're going to start seeing friends not be around you anymore. They're going to be dissatisfied. They're going to start, once you start making a change, a positive change, and you're around certain people who don't want to make that change, guess what? They don't want to be around you anymore. They start pinpointing and picking at you over certain things that you're trying to move away from your past. You're trying to step into your future, and they're trying to keep you in your past because that's where they're at. Doesn't mean that they're bad people. They just don't know what you're about to learn. Because you're going to learn some stuff. The guests that I have on this season, they're going to teach you some things. They've all moved past certain stuff. And don't get me wrong, we're not perfect. We all still go through things. But every experience is not a good or a bad experience. It's a learning experience. This show's theme is based on my book, Girl Power. I just released it. It's called Girl Power, Unleashing the Power Within. Unleashing her power within. But then I sat and I thought, you know, this goes for everybody, not just women. It goes for the males too. So if you haven't gotten the book, you can go ahead and get it. And you can get it from my website, http://mtaclifestyle.webs.com. So I have a special guest. You know her as my co-host, Darlyn Robinson. And we know her as Lynn. And we go, Life Tips by Lynn. You remember that? At the end of every season, I played an audio from Lynn because she had a very hectic schedule. And also, she was a little nervous about coming on live. But I'm so proud of her because, like me, she's gone through certain things and she feels that this is her calling. This is what she's supposed to do. So now she wants to interact with you a little bit more. But not only that, Lynn has gotten so versed in so many things because she's tapped into the inside of herself. She's gotten to know her true being, her true self, and she knows what it is that she's supposed to do in life. So the first thing she did was she cleared out her home, meaning that she got rid of a lot of clutter, things that didn't serve her any purpose, and that's what you're going to need to do too. Anything you hear from any guest on this show is not going to be just for what we had to do individually. Most of the things is things that people need to do, period, in order to get where they need to be, to experience true happiness and true success. She also said that she wanted to get her book published and she wanted to write a book. I kept pushing her. Lynn, write your book. Lynn, write your book. Lynn, write your book. And she did. She worked on it for about a year and she kept editing and she finally has a book. Also, she has her website and she's a travel agent, which you'll hear more about later. But that's not what I want you to learn about Lynn. What I want you to learn and what I want you to take from her story is what it took to get her to this point. Because anyone who is truly successful, and when I say truly successful, I mean they're happy in their lives. They are prosperous in their lives. And prosperous meaning that you don't have to have a whole bunch of money and be rich, but they have enough to go on. They know that this is all they need to survive, and they're appreciative of it. They're grateful. They have beautiful families, and if they don't have a beautiful family, they're happy with just being by themselves because they know that really they're not by themselves, which we will get into more in this show too. But I want you to take all of this stuff from them truly successful people. They have a story to tell. They've come from situations we wouldn't expect, just like you have a story. There's things that people don't know about you, and there are things that you haven't shared to other people, which brings us to transparency. In this show, to be transparent means to be real. It means there's no more secrets. I went through a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, things that you don't even think are secrets, you just really feel that you're strongly about and you just write about. And guess what? Once you start doing this work and you start tapping into the real you, things from your past do come up, but they don't come up for you to run from them or for you to be embarrassed about them. They come up for you to deal with them and for you to face them. So it's time to face ourselves. And with that being said, let's try Lynn. I'm hoping that she's available right now because she is coming from work. and I'm sure she is available because she made sure she took off so she could be right here. Okay, she's home. So I'm going to give Lynn a call and I'm going to introduce her. I just really hope you're ready for this show. It's serious. Can we all hear? Oh, there they go. Here they go. Here they go. I see y'all now. I'm in the social stream.
Hello, I'm available. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Lynn, you were listening to the show. Can everybody hear us? Can you please let us know on the social stream whether you can hear us or not?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Did you?
Okay.
You heard me well on the show?
Yes, I can hear you on the show. Yes.
Okay, I just hope everybody can hear you. Hi, Malcolm. Malcolm, can you tell me if you can hear Lynn? Lynn, say hi.
Hi, Malcolm. Let me turn up my volume. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear. Okay, let me take the time to say hi. Hi, L. Butler. LeVar. Hi, LeVar. Okay. Again, if you want to communicate with us on social stream or chat, log in with your social media login username or password, and you'll be able to chat with us or social stream. I'll be switching back and forth through both. Okay, I can hear. I see someone else. Thank you. Warm I don't know oh, Tammy. Thank you, Tammy. Okay. So, Lynn.
Yes.
I introduced you. This is our co-host. I briefly introduced you. You have a powerful story, and the audience in the seasons, in the past seasons, they connected with you, but they weren't able to connect with you on the level that you want them to connect with you now.
Okay.
So we want you to right now just briefly introduce yourself so we can get to the meat and potatoes.
Okay. Hey everybody, I'm Lynn, Sequoya's co-host. First of all, let me thank all the ladies and some of the gentlemen that came on throughout the seasons, because y'all gave me the courage to speak. When we first started this, Sequoia said, Lynn, let me interview her. And I said, oh no, I can't do that, oh no. So listening to the stories and listening to how honest everyone was, and knowing that I was on a journey and I was working on myself, God just revealed to me that it's time. It's part of my journey. So it's time for me to speak and let everyone know why I am the way I am, why I am so inspirational. That comes from a place of not being inspired, of having to learn how to inspire myself.
So, Lynn, thank you for that, because I know that took a lot for you. I don't know if it took a lot for you in this moment to say, but I know it took a lot for you to get to this point to say that. And we all are different, and we all come from different backgrounds. Hi Kim, hi Pat, hi everybody, KB Hetley, I see y'all. Thank y'all for joining in, and thank you for letting me know you can hear both of us. So now you come just like we all come from certain backgrounds and certain situations where we may think things are bad, they may not be as bad, but as children and in our youth, we don't realize that certain things are life lessons to teach us about who we are going to become. First, let's briefly just talk about why do you think you were a little nervous to speak, to talk on the show? Like, what were some of what are some things that hindered you personally? We spoke a lot about transparency.
Right. I tell my story all the time to people that I meet, to people who need to be encouraged. But to come on the show and speak to people that I don't know, that has never met me, it was just a hard thing to do. And listening to all the ladies be so honest, it was like, okay, I can do that, because everyone has a story. Everyone has a story. I can relate. Some things may not have happened to me, but I'm the type of person, I can put myself in someone else's shoes, and I can feel that pain, so I can understand what they're going through.
Right.
And knowing being that I went through the things that I went through, I just have so much compassion to help people get out of that rut in their own mind.
Now,
you know what I mean?
With that being said, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The first step here, audience, is for us to understand that sometimes we're ashamed. There are a lot of things that we're holding in. We think that people are going to think a certain way of us, or we don't know what people are going to think.
Right.
And then we come to the realization, when we really want to get serious about our lives, that there's no reason to be ashamed, because there are other people out there just like us. So with this show, you're going to have to get real.
Right.
With yourself and with others. There are people we've hurt, including myself. There are people who've hurt me. Our children that we have experienced certain things in their lives because we're their parents, and unfortunately for them, there are a lot of things we're learning still as we become parents. So Lynn, I applaud you for, you know, seeing that everybody is sharing their stories, and you have a story to tell too, and you're not the only one that has a story, so we don't have to keep it secret anymore. The first step to freedom is understanding that no more secrets.
Right.
So, okay, can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing? Oh, first, introduce the title of your book.
Oh, the title of my book is Know Yourself from the Inside. And I have been on this journey. I feel like the people in Egypt. I've been going around this mountain for 40 years. Okay? So I have been on this journey, and everyone has something that holds them in bondage. For me, it was my temper. I had really, really bad temper. Some people it's drugs. Some people, you know, it's other things. For me, it was my temper. So trying to control myself, things would happen. The enemy would come and attack me. I could say, okay, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to be quiet. I would be as quiet as long as I can and then explode, because I just couldn't take it anymore. Sometimes I would just, you know, go off. Sometimes I just would, you know, just go on by myself. But, okay, when I was younger, since I'm the youngest, I got picked on. You know, I probably was a crybaby, you know, just a crybaby. So I probably was a crybaby and a tattletale. And so I was always called, oh, you're a crybaby and you're a tattletale and you're stupid and, you know, get out of here. You can't play with us because you're going to tell, you know, and they didn't do it knowing that it was going to change who I was. Because that's just what children do. But it did change who I was. You cannot constantly tell somebody negative things about themselves and not expect them to turn into that. So whereas I didn't like it, I didn't like being bullied and beat up because somebody was having a bad day. You know, my mother suffered from depression. She had good days, she had a bad day. On the good days, she would sit, she would read the Bible to us. I was afraid of the dark because they would always jump out and scare me. So she gave me a picture of Jesus, she gave me a cross, she gave me a daily word to put under my pillow, and she gave me a radio and a nightlight. So, you know, so I learned how to pray at an early age. You know, and that has always been with me. So going through all of that, it changed me, and then I just became mean and angry and just, you know, just everything under the sun that was bad. But I didn't know it was bad because everyone around me was acting the same way.
And you know, that's amazing, because what happens is that when it comes to our power, we don't know we have power, because when it's something in our lives that occur way before we even recognize it. We're younger at that time, or it could be an incident that happens and it strips you of your power and of who you are, or it sets the tone for you to think that you are this person. So I know for a long time, I, with my abuse, thought that everybody was out to get me and to hurt me. And you just was angry. It set the tone for you to just be angry at any and everything.
Yeah, and it was normal. It was normal in my house. Everybody was yelling and screaming and arguing. You know, early on, it was nice. You know, we used to have barbecues. We would cook. We would hang out and play. But life happens, and things change. It changed for worse.
Right.
And I had to be my own protector.
Right.
So if someone in the house was upset, who are you going to pick on? The little one who can't fight back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I became that person. I'm going to find a weak person, and I'm going to pick on them because they're not going to fight back. But then I realized that that wasn't right. Mm-hmm. And let me just say this. Mm-hmm. Even though I was so angry all the time, I didn't like to see other people angry. If someone was arguing, I was the one stepping in and saying, oh, don't argue, don't do this and don't do that. Oh, y'all should be friends. Y'all, don't do it.
Right.
And I remember, and I just found this in the 9th grade. They voted me most peaceful, or peacemaker. Peacemaker. I said, no, I wanted something cool. I was like, no, I don't want that.
Right.
And they were, no, Lynn, because you're always telling us not to argue and, not to fight. But I was the one who was, I could argue and fight, but you couldn't. Because I didn't want you to be as angry as I was.
So,
and I don't know if that makes sense to people.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want anybody to feel the anger that I was feeling.
And that's really who you were. The real you was a peaceful person. So you wanted other people to be peaceful. And not only that, sometimes we push out, you ever heard the saying, and this is for the audience too, you ever heard the saying, practice what you preach, or you can't teach somebody how to do something unless you're doing it yourself. But we have this urge to teach people how to do something we don't even know how to do ourselves, because people are looking at the outer person and how we respond to certain things. So it's like, who are you to tell me how to do this and you don't even do it? We do it with our children.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because that's the real you.
Right. No one showed me a different way. Mm-hmm. I wanted to learn a different way, but
the real you,
me a different way.
The real you were peaceful.
And I got around other people, and I would be like, "Wow, they're so nice. Like, how do you do that? I want to be like you. You're so nice." And I started practicing, learning how to be nice.
You craved it.
Trying to walk over me.
Yeah. You craved it.
You take that niceness and like, no, yes, I'm nice, but you can't walk over me.
Right.
And then that's that bondage that comes on you, and you get the attitude again, and you get angry again.
Yeah.
So it took a long time, but what I realized is that when I was around people who didn't really know me, and I would say, well, yeah, I used to be really, really angry, and they're like, really? I don't see that in you. And I said, you know why? Because God did His job. He washed me clean and transformed me into His image, and you can't even see what I used to be.
Yeah, and you know what else? You wanted to. You wanted to. You wanted to change. You had the urge to change. Nobody, and this is what I tell everybody, nobody wants to be miserable. Nobody wants to argue all the time. Nobody wants to flip out all the time and start flipping tables and nobody wants to do that, and just let me say this. When Lynn is talking about, when she was younger, how she felt she was treated and how she was treated and what she became because of certain instances, she's not pointing a finger at anyone, and she's taking full responsibility and accountability for her actions, and she's also understanding that those people, those individuals, just like, even it could have been me when I was younger. I'm sure my sisters have things to say that because I did certain things when I was younger to them, because I'm the oldest, or I said certain things, it stayed with them for the rest of their lives, but I was doing the only thing I knew to do. So she's not pointing a finger. And the next step here is to accept accountability, to say that those people did that, I responded like this, but now I'm an adult and I have the choice to change. Right,
exactly. And I take responsibility. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I take full responsibility for anything I do. And it took me a while to, learn how to speak instead of argue. And even within the past couple of years, I would say to someone, well, I don't like when you bring this up because it hurts my feelings.
Right.
Then, when I'm around them again, they bring it up again. And I said, okay, I thought I told you that hurts my feelings. I don't want to talk about that. And my thing is, we all go through this because they don't know the person I am today. They don't have anything else to speak about, and that's all they know. My thing is, get to know who I am now. Because everyone has a past. Everyone. I know people who were on drugs. I know people who were prostitutes. I know people whose husbands sold drugs. I know people who've been in and out of jail. I do not bring those things up because I see that they have changed. And I accept them for who they are today because everyone makes mistakes.
That's
None
right.
of us are perfect. And I learn. I learn from my mistakes. I learn from the mistakes of others. And I had to learn forgiveness. I forgive, I love you, but if you're constantly trying to tear me down, I gotta go over here.
Yeah, and
if you need me, I'm there, but right now, I gotta go across the street.
Yeah, and before I speak on that, I just want to let the audience know, it's been brought to my attention that sometimes you get some commercials coming in. We're not going anywhere. Once the commercials pass, you'll be reconnected back to us again. We're not going anywhere. We're here, so just stay tuned. Lynn, you mentioned, you said forgiveness. And that's going to be another topic that we have a whole show about. But forgiveness is the key here. And not only are you going to have to forgive others, audience, we're going to have to forgive ourselves. Because like Lynn said, she was angry. And for me, I thought everybody was out to get me. And sometimes I fall back into that and I have to bring myself back out and stuff. And then I feel bad about it. But I can't stay stuck in feeling bad because we're all works in progress. We're all trying to change. We're all doing our best. And no one is perfect. Everyone has things that we have to work on and get better at. So you have to, after you recognize what you've done and you know you're trying to change, you have to forgive yourself and be patient and loving to yourself. Also, remember when I mentioned earlier, I said that once you go on this road, in this path to tapping into who you really are and your power within, because you inside are so powerful. We're more powerful than this body, this shell that's carrying us around, if you only knew. But the thing is that people who were around you, they're going to keep bringing up your past. They're going to keep telling you, reminding you of who you were. And what would your advice be, Lynn, when people do that along this journey?
Do what I do. I just say, okay, I don't want to talk about that. You know, it hurts my feelings. And some of my friends like to bring up, oh, remember when she was so snotty? Remember when she used to curse people out? And I finally one day I said, you know why I did that? I said, because I had a lot of anger. And one of my girlfriends said, really, Lynn, I didn't know you were angry. I just thought you were tough. And I was tough because I had to be. I had to protect myself. So when you always have that shield up and feel like you have to protect yourself, and like you say, you thought people out to get you. I'm going to get you before you get me.
Right.
Don't
Yes.
say the wrong thing.
I was a mess, honey. I was a mess.
Don't say the wrong
And I'm
thing.
sure people watching right now who knew me, they knew how much of a mess I was. But at the same time, we also want you to understand where a lot of things originate. And Lynn is such a specialist on this stuff that she actually brought to my attention a lot of things that if I say, Lynn, my chest is hurting, or, whatever, a lot of things we don't even realize starts within. Illness is one of those things. Peace. If you don't have peace within, your whole entire life and outside is going to be so unpeaceful. So I brought Lynn on really too, not really, but one of the things is because she's so great when it comes to illness. A lot of us in this world, it's not even about a people anymore. It's not about black people. It's not about white people. It's not about Asian people. Us as a whole, human beings. We are all getting sick. There's cancer out there. There's ADHD. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There's stress, heart attacks, diabetes. It all starts with what we're putting inside. So do you see how important this is? It strips us of our power. When you have bad health, it strips you of your power. Even finances. Right now, you know, I'm trying to make sure that I'm on point with my finances. That starts within too. Anything we want to work on begins within. It begins with your mentality. It begins with your spirit. So Lynn, let's talk about some of the stuff. Illnesses. We have a lot of people who are so sick and so ill, and we're concerned. We see people dying in the news every day. We have family members passing away, and we just, you know, wish there was something we can do to stop it. But sometimes it starts with us individually.
Right.
What is it?
It's stress.
Yeah.
It's stress. You know, people get stressed, they drink. People get stressed, they overeat. People get stressed. It puts stress on your heart and your body, your thoughts. And it really does harm you. And so, you know, I remember growing up, my mother, she was in the nursing field. So we would say, what did you eat? And it's probably why, and I hadn't really thought about this in a long time, this is probably why I'm so passionate about what I eat. What did you eat? We had a headache. What did you eat? We had a stomachache. What did you eat? If you were running, what did you eat?
What did you eat? I used to hear that all the time too.
You know, so it made me mindful of what am I eating. Okay, I've been eating a bunch of cakes like all last week, and I'm gluten-free. So all last week I was getting gluten-free cakes and cookies and M&M's because I was nervous about coming on the show. So that was my comfort food.
And you're doing so well.
I'm feeling so great. Let me stop this. Let me go back to my green juice and my vegetables and, you know, my green tea, and let me get back on track, go for a walk, go to the park, look at the trees, do what I do to get back on track. So we know what to do. It's all about having the willpower to do it. And one thing about me, I've always had the willpower to stop doing what I know was hurting me when I was drinking. I didn't like drinking all the time. I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to stop drinking. I used to drink beer. And I was a teenager drinking. I used to smoke weed. I stopped smoking at 18. Shows you I started probably at 14. I stopped smoking weed at 18. I stopped drinking. I'll have a glass of wine, maybe sometime, but I can go out and I can hang out and have fun, and I don't have to drink anything but water.
Right.
Because I wanted to challenge myself to go out and have a good time without drinking.
Yeah.
And to make sure I'm in my right mind. I used to be a bartender, and I used to be a waitress in a nightclub, and I've seen a lot.
Yeah, and you know what? We gotta all look. I'm still trying to aspire to get to that point too, but I don't drink to the point of where I'm gonna be topsy and falling over. But the glasses of wine and stuff I'll have, and I think it also comes with a balance with anything, with food, with drinking. I'm not gonna promote weed on the show, but there's a balance with everything. Now let's go real.
Let me answer. Can I answer?
Yeah, because I was getting ready to ask the question real quick from the you talking about from the social media stream.
Yeah, I just thought Jimmy said, how can someone who is living in darkness tap into power within themselves? I'll explain how I did it. Everyone's different. When I talk to people, I say, this is what works for me. It may work for you. Since I was a Bible reader, I had to do that. And my mother always used to say, let me just say this, she suffered from depression. She couldn't help herself, but she did the best she could on her good days to try to help everyone else. So she would, you know, tell me to read this scripture. She would give me stuff to read. So for me, I had to get away from the negativity. And I realize now that people who were separating themselves from me, it was because I was negative and they couldn't take it. So when I said, okay, I'm on this journey, I'm thinking, okay, you're too negative, I can't deal with that. If I'm telling you, you know, I'm really trying, I want to, you know, be more positive, and I give you something positive and you curse me out, it's like, okay. So for me, I had to get alone, I had to have talks with God, I had to ask, what am I supposed to do? How do I handle this situation?
Right.
And I'm not talking religion, I'm talking a relationship with Jesus. I don't know, you know, who people serve. I serve Jesus Christ. So I have my talks, and then he guides me, and I pray a lot. When I leave my house, I say, Holy Spirit, you speak. Guide me, because my flesh might curse somebody else. So, you know, I'm aspiring to be more like Jesus, to learn how to not get offended and how to not say the wrong things when I'm upset. So when I was in darkness, I just read the Bible. I just used to read.
Yeah. And you know what else?
Now, there's a couple of scriptures that work for me. just a couple. I mean, you don't have to read the whole thing. You find what works for you. And the good one is in Ephesians, and I don't know, chapter 6, verse 10 through 20. Put on the whole armor of God. That's your protection.
And you know what else? Like Malcolm just said, okay, so for those who didn't hear the question, for those who are watching and they're not in the chat room, the question was, how can, Jermaine, good question, Jermaine, how can someone who is living in darkness tap into their power within themselves? And so that's what Lynn was just discussing as far as what works for her. And then Jermaine, Malcolm stated that he said Jermaine through self-awareness, which also talks about what Lynn just discussed too. And it all begins with self. You have to get to the point.
What you want. You have to ask yourself. Where do you want to go? Okay. I've been in darkness many times. Many times. I said, okay, I'm here. Okay, Lord, I'm here. What do I do to get out of this?
Right.
And He will give you the answer. I mean, there was a time when we were freezing and starving to death, and but you know what? I was thankful because I had a roof over my head. It was freezing cold in the house, but I didn't have to sleep outside.
Right.
And then I finally got enough money, and I went and bought a radiator, put it in the room.
Right.
And
you have to get to the point where, when you're tired of being tired, there are things that happen. Some people don't even know that they're in darkness.
Right.
So they walk around, and myself included, I've been there. Sometimes it could be a certain topic or a certain what I'm looking for, category, and I don't know that what I'm doing is either wrong or is causing me confusion in my life or is causing unhappiness in my life. And what happens is we walk around and we're comfortable in this darkness.
It's normal, because that's all you know.
Yeah, it's normal to us. And then, see, what happens is people will come, like Lynn said with her, she people stop being around her. And because she was just too mean or too angry. People might have pulled away from me because maybe they felt like I always jumped to the defensive too quickly. People who truly love you though and truly know you, they'll stay around. They'll still be there to push you because they're not looking at the negativity in you. They're looking at the greatness in you. But then you'll have people that you do push away, and then if you don't get to the point where you're saying, okay, the first reaction we all have is, what's wrong with them? We point the finger at them. Oh, she want to act funny. She want to do this, that, and the other. Oh, she don't got to be around me, whatever, myself included. And then we get to the point where we're like, I need to check myself. Because if everybody is doing it and moving away from me, I got to get to the point where I'm looking at myself and I'm saying, what is it that I can change? What's going on? And then you start finding the common ground. And then you realize, okay, this is a dark area for me. It may not create darkness around your entire life, but that area, you may not have a social network that you deal with. It may be that area. You may not be able to get your job because you may be going to the interviews and the way you're answering the questions may be just a negative thing for you to be an employee at somebody's company. It's a dark area. It may not be a darkness over your entire life. It's certain areas. It may be more than one area where it's creating so much shade on yourself. Like Tamar Braxton would say, the shade is creating so much shade on yourself that you got to come to the realization for yourself. Okay, what do I need to do to change? And it may not be something that you're doing necessarily wrong. It may be something that somebody else can't swallow about you. So then now you need to know, you need to say, how do I respond to this person? Or do I need to stick around these people who can't accept me for me? So you have to start with self. Very good answer, Malcolm. Let me see what the chat says real quick, the chat room. Pat, hi Aunt Pat. She's always supportive. Thank you for showing up. She said conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires, the process. That is correct. A goal without a plan is a wish. That is true too. Anything that you're trying to do is just a wish. You can say, my goal is to not be around negative people.
Right.
If you don't make
the what? You know what I found out, and it took me a long time.
What?
You have what you say. When you say something, it's like you're calling it into existence. So I would say, okay, I don't want to argue with anybody today. I don't want to be around negative people. And then it would just come on me.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I just said, I prayed about it, and I said, so now I changed my prayer. I learned how to pray differently. I said, thank you, Lord, that the people you're surrounding me around are positive.
Right.
Thank you that they see me for who you put me on this earth to be, that they're not looking at me as the person I used to be. And when I tell them who I used to be, they're not judging me. So I say, thank you for that. And when I started saying thank you for that, and I started praying over other people, even though they may have done something to me, and I said, you know what, Lord, forgive them. Forgive them and bless them and open their hearts and let them see. And forgive me for giving into it because I know better.
Right.
When you change me, I know better. It's just like when your children go out and do something, it's a reflection on you. And you say, hold on, you know better because I taught you better than that. So when I do something, it's like I literally hear the Holy Spirit saying, Lynn, you know better. You reflect me.
Right.
You are a reflection of me. And you don't represent me like that. And I say, okay, you know what, you're right. And I've had to go to a few people and say, you know what, I apologize, let's sit down, let's talk. And I still do it. And recently, you know, I've had to do it. And I think like two people wanted to argue with me. We argued. And then later on, I went back and I said, okay, I don't know why this is happening, but we're two adults and we have children who look up to us, and we need to handle situations better than that. Because as I get older, I want to mature. Just because you're older doesn't mean you handle things maturely.
That's right.
And that's one of the things people say, I'm grown, but how grown are you?
It's the outside. It's the outside. Age is on the outside. How you look is on the outside. Gray hair is on the outside. It does not mean that you are where you're supposed to be. It doesn't mean you are where you should be. When you start with what's inside, which is the anger, which is the defensiveness, which is the attitude, which is the way you think about certain stuff. Now, Tammy says, it's frustrating to watch people wish for change and hope for change, but then fall into the same behaviors. That is correct. I think that it is extremely important, self-accountability. Yes, it is.
You have to change your circle. What I realized was that I had to change my circle. Because even though I was changing, certain people couldn't see it. And I used to pray like, oh God, how come they can't see it? How come? And I said, you know what, it's okay. If they still want to see me as that person, that's fine. I still love them. I'll accept them for who they are. But I'm moving on. I can't keep going backwards because I'm trying to move forward. So when I'm around other people and they're like, well, Lynn, you're always smiling. You're always happy. And I'm like, well, not all the time, but I like to have good energy because I learned about, like we're saying, it comes from the inside. If you don't feel good on the inside, it's going to reflect on the outside. And when I meet people that are angry, and I say, oh, that's how it used to be, and I say, okay, Lord, you know, help them out because they're having a bad day.
And that's exactly what Malcolm just said. Self-awareness allows you to understand other people and how they perceive you. Because once you start to see... Once you start to grow and start to make changes within yourself, you get to understand. And you want to know, I just heard someone say, don't get mad at people when they do things to you. Because they're only doing what they know. And we were in them shoes before too. Let me see what the chat room is saying really quick. Butler Tay, hi cousin. A moth is attracted to light. Just like negative people seem to draw near positive ones. That's, oh my goodness, that is so true. You know what else? It's true because everybody on this earth is really searching for better. And then you might find someone who's searching for better, but they're not ready to change because they don't understand what's about to happen when they change. And they're attracted to that positiveness. They're attracted to that person, and the only thing they know how to do is to bring other people down. They're not trying to bring you down. They really want to know what you know and want to know, like, how do you do that? How did you change? But all they know how to do is bring you down instead of saying, can you teach me? Can you show me? And you don't have to be abused. You don't have to stay around that type of person. You can understand where they're coming from, but if you feel that it's happening quite too often, that they're always constantly bringing you down or throwing a stumbling block or only using you, you can separate yourself from that as well and just pray that, you know, they're going to get what it is that they need too.
And you know what? Some people are uncomfortable with change because when you, like, I was really angry, and I see people who are depressed or, you know, whatever, on drugs. You have to replace it with something.
Right.
And sometimes people don't know how to replace it. I replaced mine with just being kind. And I was always a nice person, but, you know, I don't know, there was just something in me. So then I had that struggle of, you know, how to handle situations, basically.
Right.
And I started teaching because no one taught me. Everyone argued all the time. Everyone yelled. Everyone screamed.
Right.
I didn't know. And when I would see some of my friends, or even just people that I came in counsel with, someone screaming on them, they're just talking nicely and like, okay. I'm like, wow, how do you do that?
Right,
You know?
right.
You gotta teach me that. That's what I want to do. I want to learn how to do that. I'm tired of being angry.
And you know, this is another thing. Sometimes people, the fact, let me just be real quick. As much as we would like, sometimes we'll get to the point where we will ask a person, can you show me? Can you teach me? And people, they may not want to.
Right.
So it comes to a point where people may not want to help you. They may not want to see you succeed. So you don't get mad at that. You know why? Because the anger, you're trying to get rid of the anger. You're not trying to take on more anger and bitterness and grudges. So you don't get mad at that. You just say, and you just know from within that means your answer comes from somewhere else. And sometimes you have to create your own opportunities, and you have to teach yourself. Sometimes you have to motivate yourself. There's nobody that's going to be around to hold your hand 24/7. You're going to have to be a big girl or a big boy and pull up your pants, wipe the snot off your nose, and look elsewhere sometimes. You're going to have to do some research, read some books, watch other shows. I used to read not only the Bible, but I would always read something that was positive. And then, let me tell you, Dr. Phil was my therapist for a long time. I watched Dr. Phil, and they were talking about something I thought it pertained to me. Like one time he said people who are late all the time are self-centered. And I was always late. And I was like, wow, am I self-centered? Really? Because it's just about me. You know, my hair is not right. I don't like these clothes, you know. And I started trying to teach myself to be on time because I didn't want to be self-centered. You know? Yeah.
So it comes from within, and you gotta pull it out. You can't expect anyone else to do it for you.
Yeah.
And like I was saying before, people will come to me and say, well, Lynn, how did you do it? And I say, well, this is what I did. It may work for you, it may not. But then I see they're uncomfortable with the change, because if you're used to being depressed and you're used to being angry, not being depressed and being happy feels foreign. It's just different. Not being angry and being nice is something different. Like, this is weird. I don't know what this is. But you gotta keep pushing. If that's what you really want to do, you gotta keep pushing yourself.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter when people say to me, "Oh, yeah, she acts like that because she's from New York." I say, "Okay, well, you're not from New York. Why do you act the way you act?" You know?
Yeah. It doesn't matter where you're from.
Right. We're all human.
Yeah.
And you know, people say to me, "Oh, well, you know, you're still." No, that's not me. No, maybe I was like that, but that's not me now. I have to say it because I can't continue to allow people to tell me who I am.
Yeah.
Because I'm different. Yeah, I eat gluten-free. Yeah, I like my house clean. Yeah, you know, we're all different. I've always been the type of person who didn't want to be like everybody else.
Yeah.
When little kids had the same shoes, no, give me something different. I don't want that.
Now, Lynn, guess what? I don't mean to cut you off, but guess what? I want to say that I'm so proud of Lynn because it is now 8:54, and she was just a talking machine on the show. So I want to thank you for even having the guts and the courage to want to speak and interact with your audience, because they're your audience as well. And I want to let you know that Lynn will be speaking as a co-host on the show from now on, instead of sending her audios. There may be times where she might send it in if she, you know, has to be working and stuff, but she's going to be sitting here speaking and talking with us, and I hope you enjoyed her presence. Also, before we go, let me just tie up some of the stuff from the chat room, because I want everybody to know that we're listening. I Butler said, excellent point, Sequoia. When we're going through it, only we can, oh goodness, you know, when you're scrolling up sometimes, only we can get off the hamster wheel. Excellent point. Only we can. You got to make a choice. Everything in life is a choice. Either you choose to keep going around and around and around and around, or you can say, you know what, this is boring. It's the same point I'm meeting each time I come back around. I'm seeing the same stuff on each side of this wheel, up, bottom, top, around, everything. I'm ready to get off. Okay, what's the next one? We have to get to the point of understanding ourselves. That is true. I have 5 new messages. Hi, my name is Teddy Bianco. I love your show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That we hope to inspire you to look at yourself and to change yourself. Don't worry about what everyone else is saying, because there's always going to be someone saying something negative about you, and you can't continue to let that change who you are or make you who they want you to be. See yourself, love yourself, and do you.
Now,
keep it positive.
I have to say this. Chappelle Leo, I'm going to get you. I have to tell him thank you for watching the show, because he's my co-worker. And I just realized when he said Teddy, we call him Teddy at work. Thank you, Leo, for watching the show and for joining us. And thank you for loving the show. Now, we have...
You said I did awesome.
Yes. Thanks, Tammy. Okay, so we have 4 minutes left. Lynn, I'm going to ask you in 30 seconds, let us know where we can purchase your book, which is a great book, and I want you to get it. Anything you can get your hands on to learn about how to change within and how to grasp hold of your power. Oh, and this show is going to dig deeper. We just wanted to introduce you to Lynn and introduce you to what we're going to be discussing this entire season. So, Lynn, tell us where you can get your book at.
Okay, the book right now is on Lulu.com, and actually, if you go to my page, Inspire Lynn. Oh my God, I forgot. I made it up.
Inspirations.
Inspirations with an S by Lynn. And it's new. It's a new website. I'm revamping it, and I'm trying to put some things on there for you, but you can actually go there. And, let me just say this real quick. There's a video on there. This little buzz, people who are not Facebook friends with me didn't see this, and it's carrying this big thing. And I got inspiration out of that. No matter how small you are, how weak you think you are, you have power. And I was in the park meditating, and when I took the video of it, the music was playing, so it actually has music to it. But go and check it out.
Yeah, and so that's Inspirations by Lynn. I put it in the social stream, inspirationsbylynn.webs.com. Lynn, I'm going to let you go because we got to play your commercial, unless we might save it for next time, because we got 3 minutes left.
Thank you, everyone. Y'all have a good night.
Good night. Thank you. We love you.
Love you too.
Okay. All right, so she was wonderful. She was great, and so were you. The chat room was on fire. I love y'all. Y'all always. And look, I have to thank Tremaine, Malcolm, Aunt Pat, Tammy. I have to thank those, especially because they've been here since day 1 of my show. This is the 4th season. And then I want to thank all of the new people and my family that's been in the chat room. You've been lighting it up. Leo, my co-workers, all of my followers, I just want to thank you. There are people who are watching who didn't log into the chat room. We see the numbers. I see that you're here. I may not know who you are, but I want to thank you. This is your family. You're my family. Also, exciting news. Again, Girl Power, unleashing her power within. It's not just for women. Men can gain from it too. You can visit my website. Yes, I am still vamping it, still rebranding it and stuff, but it's come a long way. It's great. It is http://www.mtaclifestyle.webs sequoiawealth.com. You'll find books there, you'll find blogs there, and soon, January 2015, is going to be a whole coaching package up there, different coaching packages and stuff. And you don't have to worry about going to counselors and paying high fees. Why? Because it's all there, and it's not going to be expensive, and you know that I get you and I understand you because I am you. I love you all. I appreciate you all coming by. Don't worry, we'll be back next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see you all there. Again, we're watching the chat room. We have a gift that we want to send to the most active chatter, and we're going to take your mailing address and we're going to send it to you, and that's coming from Lynn. Now, I don't have time to play the commercials this show, but we have commercials now that we're playing and stuff too. If you need if you have a commercial you want aired, for more information, contact me, inbox me on Facebook. I'm Sequoya Willis, or you could do MTAC Lifestyles. You can find me on Twitter, Ustream, Instagram, Facebook, I said it, and LinkedIn. Everything is Sequoya Willis. I love you. Thank you so much. Mwah. Again, big shout out to Kim Sewell because she did my flyer that you all have been seeing posted. Love you. Have a great night. Now I'm going to play all my sons and nephews' theme songs.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, welcome to the Sequoia Show. Yeah, the Sequoia Show. I said, welcome to the Sequoia Show. Look, the Sequoia Show. Okay, welcome to the Sequoia Show. Yeah, the Sequoia Show. She's the original individual, metaphysical, speaking to her spiritual. Thoughts are way too critical. She creating miracles. Promise she gon' get to you. Only affected by a few. Beginning to her chronicles. Maybe we'll get logical. Logically, she probably tell the truth through honesty. Welcome to the show. Y'all family.
Y'all family. Good night. Love you.
Family.